everyone, welcome to Reach Higher Riverside podcast, where we share all Reach Higher stories happening in Riverside, California. My name is Priscilla Grijalva, and I'm a school counselor at the best high school in the world. A group of educators from Riverside, California, and all over the United States attended the United States Marine Educator Tour in San Diego, California. We stood on the infamous yellow footprints that every Marine stands on when he or she first arrives at boot camp, and we learned the proper way to address a drill instructor. We screamed at the top of our lungs, "Aye, aye, sir!" When he gave a command, we rushed to complete it. It was a 5-day boot camp to gain a deeper knowledge of the life in the Marines. This workshop helped me have an eye-opening experience to understand further what the Marines have to offer. You will hear marches, drill instructors, interviews from Marines, rifles, assault courses, fog of war, among other activities, and tips on financial aid for college and career technical education. You will hear some wind, planes, and different noises as we go through the week-long experience. I have Sergeant Hester with me, and he applied for FAFSA in college, and I like to have him share his story. Here he is.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sergeant Hester. I'm currently an active duty Marine stationed in San Diego. Right now, I serve in a marketing and communications position. As well as being an active duty Marine, I also go to school full-time online. Within the Marine Corps, after serving a period of time, you're eligible for a program called Tuition Assistance, where they cover 100% of your tuition at select schools. However, they don't cover book fees or other school supplies like that. So I used FAFSA to apply for help so that I could get other educational materials covered.
And what would you say to a student or a recruit that wants to go into the military and hasn't done their FAFSA yet, but they want to go to college?
I would highly recommend to utilize all the benefits you have in the military, whether it's tuition assistance or other tests and things like that. You can use your education centers. And if you need help, please don't hesitate to use FAFSA to help you cover those fees and those book funds. It's not cheap, but education's important.
And currently in the state of California, we have the Race to Submit, so be sure you check out the Race to Submit. And if you're a senior, be sure to do your California Dream Act or your FAFSA. Thank you. Hi, I got a special guest with me from the U.S. Marines. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Staff Sergeant Rodriguez, and I am the Marine recruiter for Hilo up in the Big Island.
So I had the honor to hang out with him all day. He's a really great guy. Can you explain your role in the military, and you can give a little background on that?
So my role currently as a recruiter is to, one, find highly qualified applicants and, sit them down, kind of just talk story with them, find out, their interests, and just show them the different opportunities that might be out there for them if, college or work isn't for them. So really just giving kids different views of what they could be offered in life.
Okay. And then you also had another role that you said that you have in the military. Can you also talk about that?
Yes, I am a heavy equipment mechanic. So that's my technical job that I signed up for in the Marine Corps. And I'm just pretty much a mechanic within the Marines. I help fix gear that supports, our infantry within the Marine Corps, and whether it be building up bases, building up homes, building up structures, that's my job. So.
Yeah, you have a big role to play. Do you have any advice you can give high school students as they're trying to, I guess you could say, make a decision whether they should commit to the Marines?
Definitely. If the Marines is something that they are planning to take up or, deciding on doing, one, they should really think of, what they're really trying to accomplish in their life. Whether they want to have, tangible or intangible things. That's the way we break it down. Within a lot of the military branches, there is that tangible. A lot of the tangibles is the same. What the Marine Corps loves to kind of epitomize, I guess you could say, is those intangible traits such as, courage, self-confidence, discipline, direction for a lot of the kids. Because when you actually take a look at, yourself in the mirror, because everyone wants financial, everyone wants education, those are things that is, common out there in the world. Like, when you actually dig past that and you actually ask yourself why I want that stuff, you're going to find a little bit more traits, I guess you could say, intangible traits that one you need for yourself in order to get you from point A to point B. And those are the traits that the Marine Corps, really focus on in developing in young men and women, so that way within the long term in their future, those traits actually is visible for them. They can look in the mirror and see the man or woman that they always wanted to be, or their parents can see that man or woman that they could see their kid becoming. And that's the main goal of the Marine Corps, is to give kids that chance, and also to give back to society quality citizens.
Yeah. And what would you say is your reason for serving our country?
My main reason is to actually show people that, we're not just a war fighting group. The things that we bring to the table as the Marine Corps, has many different roles. And then for me is to actually inspire, motivate, and, give young men and women that chance, the same chance that I had when I actually enlisted. Because I can honestly say I didn't come from the greatest home or the richest family. We always had, struggles that we went through growing up, and I feel like a lot of kids do. But for myself, I just wanted to give kids that chance, and actually show them, like, hey, don't be afraid to serve something greater than yourself. Trying to just not be selfish. Maybe take off your blinders sometimes and see what the world is really like when you don't just care about yourself.
Yeah, that's true. And as a leader, you also have to look out for other people.
Definitely.
So you're very selfless in that act. So we appreciate you serving our country.
Thank you.
I guess the last question, we got to spend the whole day together. Maybe you could kind of share what we got to experience together, and anything else that you'd like to share with everyone.
Yeah, definitely. So today, the educators, we took them on a little taste of what the recruits would feel in boot camp. So from receiving all the way to meeting their drill instructors for the first time, and just through some of the physical fitness courses that we actually put these recruits through, and a lot of the things that we do, if you take it just for face value, it's hard. It's very difficult.
And I totally have to agree. Just watching what they went through today, I don't know how they do it every day. They work really hard and they protect us.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like we showed you guys, we actually sit down kneecap to kneecap with these kids and actually explain to them, the meaning of why, we did these courses, And one of the courses that we put you guys through was the bayonet course. And what this bayonet course tries to simulate for you guys is what we call the fog of war. So what is that? Is that like chaos? There was like, big speakers with blaring noises, gunshots going, helicopters, flying over. And this course, for a lot of you guys, it was very difficult. But the meaning for that course and that saying I just said, the fog of war, is not as literal as you might think of it. A lot of people would see that and just be like, oh, it's just for war fighting. But when you actually break it down into its figurative sense, the fog of war can be many things. We try to simulate for these kids that pressure, whether it be one in combat, if that is their job, or two, it could be out there in a civilian world, with whatever issues you're dealing with. So we put them under that pressure so they can operate under that pressure, so that way they can focus, that way they can find their inner self, that way they can have that poise, that way they can have that self-confidence. And that's those intangible traits that we try to explain to them, try to sit them down, because a lot of them go in there, and it is chaotic and they don't know what to do. But with constant training and constant preparation and getting put through these courses that we put you guys through today on a daily basis for 3 months, those traits get built up within them that they never seen before. And that fog of war, when they take a look at it, it's more than just war. It's what they go through in their daily lives sometimes.
Yeah, and I was able to record some of the sounds so you guys would be able to hear that. And we interviewed a captain too, so you'll get to hear from her. Another thing we did today that was awesome is we got to talk to some newly recruits that are going to be graduating this Friday in San Diego. And one of the recruits, he was telling me he hasn't talked to his family in so long, and he can't wait to see them, and he's probably going to be a little emotional, but I can't imagine what they go through. Maybe you can kind of share what we got to do with them today on that part.
So what we wanted to show you guys is the finished product, I guess you could say. A lot of these kids come in, they were the ones, that, slouched a little bit in their chairs, or, really gave the attitude like they didn't really care of what happened or whatever it may be. But these kids now, you notice, they sit up a little bit straighter, they appreciate a little bit more things, actually being away from their family, but now upon graduating, they earn that Eagle Globe and Anchor for themselves, and what they feel and what the sense they have is that pride. So what that feeling is that they can't wait to stand in front of their mom or their dad or their aunties, uncles, grandparents, siblings, and be in that uniform that they had the right to earn for themselves, and being able to explain to their parents that honor, that heritage that they just earned for themselves, and that they're representing something bigger than themselves now.
Yeah.
So definitely that pride that they really want.
He had a lot of pride, and he was sharing about the yellow footprints when he first went through that. And we got to experience that too today. And when we went through it, it was pretty hardcore. We learned the march and everything, and we got yelled at by drill sergeants, and we got to yell too, and that was very, very fun. But then also when we went through the yellow footprints, we went inside to this room. What was that room called? Where they put their backpack down and stuff, and then they have that phone call, the automated, where they have to read a script.
It's the receiving room. So it's a room where these young men and women, they get pretty much start the transformation of becoming a civilian into a Marine. So they empty out everything from their pockets, whatever they don't need, it gets thrown away, their valuables, anything like that, they get put into bags, and then they have that final phone call home, or not final, but final phone call in the next 3 months anyways, home, back to their parents, just pretty much notifying them that, they arrived at MCRD San Diego, the training depot safely, and the next time that they'll hear from them is, is by letter within 2 weeks. And upon there, that's where they get their haircut, and that's where the training or the transformation, I guess you could say, begins for these young men and women.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sergeant Rodriguez. We really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you.
And hopefully more students out there will consider different options, whether it's the military, community college, or a university, or even career technical education.
Definitely.
So I think, as school counselors, just being open to all these options and learning about them has really, really helped. So thank you. June 26th, and we're in San Diego at the combat training. As you can hear the rifle sounds. It's a pretty intense course. It's pretty amazing what our military go through every day. You want to say hello and your name?
Hello, my name is Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Lenz. And what all do you want? Were you curious about?
Can you explain what this is, the combat course?
This is the bayonet assault course, and it simulates fire team rushes through several obstacles and works on teaching teamwork and discipline within the recruits. That's about it.
What are those sounds you hear in the background?
That's just to simulate the fog of war is what we like to say. So it makes them have to work through different mental obstacles to complete the course.
Thank you for serving our country.
All right, step. Here we go. We're gonna hold. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Step platoon, hold. You can say step free. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Left, right, left. Left platoon, hold. Freeze. Step, freeze. Eyeballs.
Yes, sir.
Eyeballs.
Yes, sir.
Okay, eyeballs.
Yes, sir.
That means you look at me. Eyeballs.
Yes, sir.
Eyeballs.
Yes, sir.
Okay, eyeballs.
Yes, sir.
Step, freeze. That's all that is. Left platoon, hold, step, freeze. That's it. Got it?
Yes, sir.
All right, so shit back. We're gonna try it again. Yeah, sure.
Yes, sir.
0. Get information. 10, 9, 8, 6, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Right.
Hey, right.
Right.
Hey.
Forward.
Here we go. Forward.
Stand tall, be back.
March. Take it back. Aye, aye, sir.
Yes, sir.
Eyeballs.
Yes, sir.
Eyeballs.
Yes, sir.
Forward. Forward.
Stand tall, be back. Stand tall, be back.
March. See that? As soon as you say reach, you're reaching with your left foot. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And that's all. Left foot. And we're moving. That's it. All right, here we go. Forward.
Stand tall, be back.
Okay, forward.
Stand tall, be back.
March. Left, right, left. Left platoon. Hold.
Stand, freeze.
Just like that. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just like that. Got it?
Yes, sir.
All right, hold it on. First thing is stand
tall, be back. Stand tall, be back.
17 as Camp Matthews in La Jolla, California, ended in 1964 when the land was transferred to the University of California, San Diego. Since then, marksmanship, as well as many other Marine Corps skills, have been conducted aboard this historic camp, and the Marines who work in these iconic hills have much to show you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Edson Range.
Hi everyone, we're at the School of Infantry and I'm with Staff Sergeant. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, my name's Staff Sergeant Prince Bustos. I'm here, an instructor here at the School of Infantry.
And can you tell everyone how long you've been in the military and your plans after when you get out of the military?
Plans in the military, well, I've been in for 15 years, and then once I get out, I will be going to aspiring to be in the fashion industry and hope to get into FIDM.
That's a great goal. And what made you decide to go into the fashion industry?
I think it's a balance in my life. What we do is inherently violent, and I'm proud to serve my country, but at the same time, I like to express myself in artistic ways.
Okay, thank you, sir. We're at the School of Infantry, and in the background you can hear some of the gunshots. We were able to practice on some M16s, so I'll go ahead and let you guys listen to that.
All right, so whenever you're ready, go ahead and put your weapon on semi. You can shoot those 5 rounds at that target, all right? Try to ensure that you're shooting your target, which is 23, all right? Yep, you're going to go ahead and squeeze that trigger to the rear. And you'll let it...
Today we went to an assault course, and a staff sergeant read the Battle of Fallujah, something they read to the Marines before they enter the course. There was a pretty tough course, and we worked as a team trying to get through each station. So it was a lot of teamwork and a lot of fun, but at the same time really difficult. So go ahead and listen into the Battle Fallujah.
Battle Fallujah, United States Marine Corps. The Battle Fallujah, codename Operation Al-Fajr, Arabic and Operation Phantom Fury, sometimes referred to as the Second Battle Fallujah, was a historic U.S. Marine Corps-led offensive against the Iraqi insurgent stronghold in the city of Fallujah. The U.S. military called it the heaviest urban combat since the Battle of Hue City in Vietnam. 2 Marine regimental combat teams, RCT-1 and RCT-7, with mechanized support, launched their attack along the northern edge of the city. The force committed to the assault totaled 4 Marine light infantry battalions and 2 Army mechanized battalions. On November 8, 2004, the assault began in early hours with intense bombing, followed by an attack on the main train station, which the Marines would later use as a staging point for follow-on forces. Throughout the first hours of the attack, Marines displayed tremendous heroism and courage, fighting house to house, systematically clearing all buildings as they advanced. By the afternoon, under the protection of intense air cover, Marines had entered Naib, Al-Dubat, and Al-Naziza districts. Throughout their advance, Marines tenaciously fought through ambushes, sniper attacks, and traps set up by insurgents well familiar with the area. Shortly after nightfall, on November 9, 2004, Marines were reported to be advancing along Highway 10 in the center of the city. While most of the fighting had subsided by November 13, 2004, Marines continued to face pockets of determined resistance from the enemy in and around the city. By November 16, 2004, after 9 days of fighting, Marine commanders described the action as mobbing up pockets, resistance, but sporadic fighting continued until December 23, 2004. Operation Al-Fashar during the Battle of Fallujah will be recorded as one of the most tenacious battles in military history due to the courage and aggressiveness displayed by the U.S. Marines. All right, so after we read a citation, we just say, give them one, and then everybody screams kill. So I'm going to say, give them one. Kill. Yeah, right, give them one. Kill. So for everything that they did, a long battle, one of the battles of Fallujah, and it's just to get you kind of in that combat mindset for what you're about to do. So that's what we do through all the 27 events that they do here.
Hi everyone, I'm with Sergeant Brooks, and I'll let him introduce himself and what he does in the military.
Hi guys, my name is Sergeant Eric Brooks. I am the Marketing and Public Affairs Specialist for Recruiting Station Riverside in the Holy Land Empire. So basically what I do for the Marine Corps is I spread awareness. I make sure everyone knows about the Marine Corps and all that it has to offer.
Can you tell us what made you want to serve your country?
What made me decide to serve my country was mainly I grew up in it. My father was a Marine. All my uncles were in the Army. My grandfather was in the Army. So not that it wasn't a choice, it was more of a calling for me to follow in their footsteps. And that's really what made me decide to join the Marines, just because I wanted the challenge and I wanted to, one up my all my aunts, uncles, and grandfathers.
Can you give some examples of what you do with your job, specifically with marketing?
So with my job, when I'm in the regular Marine Corps, I'm a photographer. So I go around and take photos and videos and write stories of Marines in the field, whether that's in Afghanistan, overseas, or here in the United States. I document what they're doing, what they're training, and all that. And then here in the recruiting world, I set up events, so whether that be concerts, or set up billboards, set up radio spots, or even TV commercials.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun sometimes, I bet. What is the hardest part of your job, and what do you love the most about it?
I would say the hardest part about my job would just be the consistent traveling and always on the go and always on the move. Just trying to juggle all of that and have a social life. So it's a lot of time and a lot of effort, but it's worth it. That's probably the hardest part.
And how do you think school counselors and recruiters can work together in helping students decide to enlist in the military or not?
I think it's just sitting down and having a conversation with the students at the school, first and foremost, when they come to the counselors or teachers, and seeing if it's the right fit for them. It's not for everyone, and just like college is not for everyone, the Marine Corps is not for everyone. So it's seeing if their interests align with ours, or even if it's on their service, and seeing how best the Marine Corps can work for them, and if it's a right fit for them for their future.
And one of the Marines gave a great analogy. He said, if I gave you $16,000, would you jump out of a plane? And somebody had said no, but he said, what if I told you the plane was on the ground? So just getting the facts first and trying to figure out what you want to do in life before you make any commitments.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a great analogy. I loved it. How can we help prepare students for the military?
I would say first and foremost, as educators, the first thing educators can do is make sure that they're on track to graduate. Any student is not going to be able to join the Marine Corps or the military as a whole without a high school diploma. That's just baseline facts. So just make sure they're on track to graduate, stay out of trouble. And other than that, it's up to the recruiters to make sure they're ready for the Marine Corps. So that's with all the physical fitness and all that stuff. So, once you're graduated and once you guys, educators, get them through high school, it's up to the recruiters to get them ready for boot camp.
And then specifically to move up in ranking, if they have a college degree, they can move up. So how can we encourage our students to do the FAFSA? A lot of them think like they don't need to do it because they're just going to enlist in the military. What is something that we can tell them as school counselors or even you as a recruiter to encourage them to do their FAFSA?
While you're in the Marine Corps, the Marine Corps will give you tuition assistance, so your tuition's covered. But you can use your FAFSA or your Pell Grants or any kind of grants for all your books, or even just pocket that. So that's just extra money you're wasting by not doing your FAFSA. The Marine Corps will provide, but there's no reason not to go out and do a little extra work to set yourself up a little even better.
Yeah, and I hope that all of our students will reach higher and do their FAFSA. Thank you, Sergeant Brooks.
Absolutely.
So for this part of the segment, and from now on, we're going to start the Sunshine Spotlight. And the reason we call it the Sunshine Spotlight is because my grandma, she was nicknamed Sunshine because she made people happy. So for our Sunshine Spotlight, I like to ask Sergeant Rodriguez, what has made you happy this past week or today?
So what has made me happy today, especially, is a couple things. One is I was pretty happy that the educators got to get a little taste of what the drill instructors is like for the Marines. It was pretty. It made my day. It made me laugh. I'm pretty sure it made the educators laugh too. And the second thing is actually getting to know yourself as an educator. This is somebody that's new, and that always makes my day when I can actually sit down with people and actually not change their mind, but actually, we can meet eye to eye and in the middle and actually agree on something, because that's how I feel, people compromise, and that's how, I feel that there's less conflict than anything when people understand each other. So that made my day when a lot of the educators and hopefully you we came to the middle and we, compromised, and we understood each other a little bit more, and we come from both different spectrums.
Yeah, and I think that made me happy too. Is I've always supported the military because I have family that's in different branches, and I really appreciate you guys. But I think I just never understood exactly what you guys went through. So it definitely made me more grateful for you guys, and that made me happy too. Just knowing what you do behind the scenes and how hard you work. So thank you.
Thank you.
For the Sunshine Spotlight, can you give us at least one thing that made you happy this week?
What made me happy this week was seeing 30 or 40 educators from across the country, across in the Pacific Islands, come together and form a friendship. And seeing from this Monday where they were shy and they didn't really know each other, to now on Thursday where seems like they're all best friends, they're all hooting and hollering, and seeing the laughter and the smile and the transformation. It really made me happy just to see that and see the bonds that were formed.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to get to know people from Hawaii and Guam and all over California. So thank you for giving us this opportunity. In our next podcast, we will be interviewing Crystal Newby, who's one of the associate directors for the National Association for College Admission Counseling. Thank you for tuning in to Reach Higher Riverside. You can follow us on Twitter at RH Riverside. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at Reach Higher Riverside. You can also subscribe to our iTunes or Google Play Music and give us a rating. Thank you so much for listening in. We appreciate all of you tuning in. And as Michelle Obama would say, when they go low, we reach higher.